Alright, we thought the first place to start might be the closest point of interest to my house, which is the train station here in Railroad Square in downtown Santa Rosa. And I've done a whole upload just about Railroad Square. And if you Google Santa Rosa's Railroad Square, you'll probably see it in there. But over here, this is going to be the commuter train that goes from all the way up in Cloverdale, which is about 25-30 miles north of Santa Rosa, all the way down to just on this side of the Golden Gate Bridge. And it's going to help take a lot of traffic off the road. You can see the platform that they're...
How are the people going to get on the platform?
I guess there's going to be a walkover or something, yeah.
They have a bridge.
And this old train station was featured in Alfred Hitchcock's movie Shadow of a Doubt. I think that was 1948. And you can check our elevation and everything here. We're at 150 feet above sea level. And we're actually about 54 miles north of San Francisco. And about 230 miles, Eureka is just south of the California-Oregon border. But yeah, this train depot has been in Cheaper by the Dozen with Steve Martin and the Shadow of a Doubt, which I think was Alfred Hitchcock's best movie of all time. So it's also an official California welcome center, so we'll go chooch inside. I'm going to just go through inside real quick, babe, okay? And take a look in. I got the Bobster with me today, and all over town you see these Peanuts characters, because this Charles Schultz's adopted town for many, many decades. So you see these figures that people bought at auction, and then they decorated them the way they wanted to raise money for charity. Go inside. It's the official California Welcome Center. And they got a nice little museum back in here. This was the Northwestern Pacific Railroad. Awful quiet today, guys. And you can see come here. You can see some of the old memorabilia, old stock certificates and bonds on the walls. There used to be a Del Monte canning plant here in town. A lot of interesting sights to see here. Some of the old railroad equipment. You switch levers for changing tracks. Kind of cool. Alright, we're going to make our way up 4th Street now in Railroad Square, and it's some of our small part of the one of the shopping districts in town, and it has some antique stores and some really nice little restaurants and stuff. But you'll see here in Santa Rosa, a lot of buildings are of 1906 vintage. The city of Santa Rosa is significantly older than 1906 vintage, but of course we had the great San Francisco earthquake which everybody thinks about the San Francisco, but per capita, Santa Rosa got much more damaged and much greater loss of life than San Francisco in the earthquake. And the city was absolutely devastated, the downtown area, so a lot of rebuilding occurred here, and it's really a nice place with a lot of cool little shops here. One-of-a-kind stuff. It's not just all imported stuff for sale. And you can have every kind of cuisine under the sun. And so it's kind of cool.
These are sketchbook.
And babe, this is Jack and Tony's. Isn't this the first place we ever went on a date?
I think it was.
The second place. First place we were at Toad in a Hole.
Yeah.
But this place was pretty cool because it had big iron beams inside of it. I think it's pretty. I didn't think we thought it was too high. It was okay, you know.
Yeah, it's okay.
It was all right. You can see inside the big steel beams, but it's one of the cool, at least cool looking anyway. But the acoustics were terrible in there. I remember you could hardly hear yourself. There was nothing to absorb the sound. But a whiskey bar, and I always think they're not American, must be British style, because Americans, we spell whiskey W-H-I-S-K-E-Y. At least that's what we make in the Shine Shack, ain't it, babe? We make
Good stuff.
bourbon whiskey. Not all whiskey is bourbon, but all bourbon is whiskey. Trattoria Italian. This was a good place. Sushi to die for. A lot of nice places here, and a lot of people come over to hang out here a bit, and got a few winery where they put a little place where people can come over and sample the wines from some of these vineyards and things. The wine bar just features wines from all over the Sonoma Valley. You can go in there and taste and buy them out of there. So it's kind of a cool little older shopping district, and you can see Highway 101 elevated up ahead there, and we're west of 101, just a little bit. So we'll be getting in the car in a minute, and we'll be heading down to Courthouse Square in the town center down there. So the other part of 4th Street, which is kind of cool too. Okay, we'll just cross over here and go back to the car. Pretty lively today, huh?
Yeah, they got the music on.
They got some of the cool thrift shops and antique places here too, and I've picked up some cool stuff when silver was gone through the roof. They weren't pricing up the silver items they had there, sterling and all that. They were almost giving it away like equivalent of $5 an ounce when silver was $30 an ounce.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I loaded up and took that stuff to the coin dealer and dumped that stuff out and put a couple grand in my pocket. So yep. Yeah. There's a couple of the thrift shops here. Ladies out shopping in Chuchin today.
Not out.
And the Omelet Express, Bobby and I have eaten there a couple times. The unofficial mayor of Santa Rosa, Don Taylor, owns that, and he's always out here Saturday, Sunday morning. Forget about it. They're lined up out here and unbelievably crowded, huh, babe?
Absolutely.
And he's out there. He's a big guy, like what, 6'4", 3 bills. I mean, he's like, everybody knows him. And he's got a really big place here. And he's a fun guy too. He does a lot for the city.
Yeah, somewhere around 86.
Well, we've sort of done a quick up and down 4th Street, at least on the Railroad Square side. So it's time to get back in the chariot there and head over to Courthouse Square and look around there. Thanks. to Courthouse Square, which is really the center of the city of Santa Rosa. And it's also the heart of the financial district with the Bank of America and the U.S. Bank, Wells Fargo, all the brokerage houses here. There's a pretty good accumulation of wealth here, I'd say, in Sonoma County. So they have a significant financial district here, banks and things. But this is the part of town that really got devastated in the 1906 earthquake, and all had to be rebuilt. There used to be a big post office, wasn't there, down there, babe? A big U.S. post office or federal building that just got absolutely leveled in the 06 or the 69 earthquake. One of them wiped it out. I'm just going to walk down here a little bit, look at the square. See over there the restaurant Flavors. Bobby and I have had a few nice meals over there, but it's a beautiful day in the square. It's not warm at all today. And you can see across Courthouse Square, the old Courthouse Square, and they have fountains. And yeah, that's the old courthouse building. It's a law office across the street now. It's clear of the trees, and that's still standing. I'm not sure what that when that was put up, but that's the old court building there, and I think it's law offices over there now. And because this is the seat of county government, there's a lot of lawyers here, and a lot of government offices and things here in Santa Rosa. And mainly this is the financial district and the heart of the legal district. And the courthouses are long gone here. They're moved out to Administrative Drive. It's called the Empire Building there, very handsome. That's just a law office now. There are a lot of banks right here. Probably 10 banks within this one block. So we'll make our way across the square here. Bobby's checking out the map here. And we have Railroad Square. So where are we right now? We're right here at Courthouse Square. And after this, leaving Courthouse Square, we're going to make our way down to Luther Burbank, the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens, and check in there. So, this is also, we were on 4th Street, west of Highway 101. Now this is East 4th Street here. And a lot of people hang out. This place is the big party zone on the weekends here, and there's a lot of really great restaurants and shops here. And it's just booming all weekend long. If you're going to socialize in Santa Rosa, you're always going to tell people, meet me down on 4th Street down there. Let's go to dinner on 4th Street. And you know, you have Guy Fieri of Food Network, his restaurant, Tex Wasabi's barbecue and sushi's down here, and a lot of really fun places to eat. You have a French bistro over here, but I'd say this is the heart of the activities on the weekend down here, wouldn't you, babe? Right down here on 4th Street. And a lot of people love to hang out down here. I know I do. So we'll loop back across the square, and you're really at the fun heart of the city right here, the activity center. And Bobby and I always agree, when you have a city, it's important to have a center and a downtown to it. It really sort of pulls people in, and it makes it vibrant. It's the heart of things. And if you don't have a downtown, and California has some of these made cities that they just built from scratch, and they don't have downtowns like Howarth Park, right? They don't have a feel to them. You know, they don't have any soul or vibrancy to them. So we'll now make our way south along the square here. We'll head back to the car, and we'll head down to You can Luther Burbank Gardens. You can see some of the outdoor cafes and things here. And it's really nice to sit out here and eat on a summer evening. And it's just a great place to live, isn't it, babe? Santa Rosa, just a wonderful place to live. Everybody gets along good. This is where Bobby and I eat a few times. Flavor Restaurant. You girls come to visit, this is where we'll come and eat here. No boys allowed to visit yet, huh?
No way.
Bobby says no boy visitors to the Rancho de Rosa.
None. Only the boss.
All right, well.
But he brings his own chef.
Yeah, that concludes the Courthouse Square in the heart of Santa Rosa. We're going to head a little southeast now to the very famous Luther Burbank Home and Gardens, where Luther Burbank did a lot of his pioneering work in plant genetics and by just raw industry and sweat of his brow. Never had a formal education, but he certainly developed a lot of strains of plants and vegetables that we still have today. Anytime you eat a McDonald's French fry, you're eating a Burbank developed potato.
Russet potato.
Russet Burbank russet potato. That's it. All right, guys. We'll see you over at the gardens. You can see our city hall across the street, and it's really one of these nondescript concrete monstrosities that I guess they put up in the 60s or 70s. It has it's a pretty soulless sort of place.
It's got no character.
Got no character at all, and it's kind of messy. But contrast that is as I pan left here into the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens. And of course, Luther Burbank was probably the most famous resident to ever occupy and live here in the city of Santa Rosa. And we're now going to go over and visit his site, which is on the historic register, and certainly one of the big landmarks for tourism here in town. And you can see there's already people on the grounds, and the garden should be in full swing now. I was here in February or March. I brought you guys over here, and there wasn't much going on. You can see some of the plaques there, and they really, after Burbank died, his widow lived on for many years here, and when she passed on, she donated this to the city of Santa Rosa, and they've been upkeeping it ever since. And they have docents, and they have a big volunteer group, don't they, babe? It keeps this place going big time here. And just as an aside, up the street here, Tupper Street, is where Natalie Wood lived for a couple years before she moved on to Hollywood and find fame and miracle on 33rd Street. Go inside, and directly ahead you can see the carriage house, which is open today. But we'll start with the grounds. We'll loop around. We'll end at the carriage house. Okay, babe? And what I always like to see here is the beautiful roses, all these varieties. And what's strange is in the city of Santa Rosa here, Luther Burbank really didn't do anything with roses at all, surprisingly. He was much more interested in the commercial aspects of things to eat, and I guess one of his most famous things we'll see later is the Shasta daisy, which endures today and is a florist's favorite for putting into arrangements because its long life and its stark white beauty. But we'll go around, we'll see some of the roses here in the rose garden, and every one is a different variety. And my personal favorite is the multicolored, like I think one of them over there is called the Joseph Coat, and it's in orange and reddish, and of course you guys see outside of the casa there, I have red roses. I love the real deep red roses too. Yeah, and I believe this is that's the Chris Everett rose, and that's really a beautiful color. So they do put different roses here, but it really has no connection to Luther Burbank. And I think that's a whole planting of Shasta daisies right there. And that's one of the things that Luther Burbank is most famous for. If you ask me my favorite variety of rose, it's the real deep, dark red, what they call the chocolate red roses. Are those Shasta daisies, babe? They look like Shasta daisies right there. They're not marked, but I'm betting they are. Yeah, right there. And that's certainly... Oh, I was like, really, don't walk on the lamb's ear. You can see how pretty that is. Well, you know, babe, you can take the Rosie, you can dress her up, but you know, out in public, it's a hit or miss operation here. So I'll try not to tromp the gardens anymore. But isn't that beautiful there, those Shasta daisies? And we'll go around. He has multi-variety cherry trees here, and this is the big tree behind this one. Is called the paradox tree, and it was another thing that Luther Burbank took a lot of time to try to develop. You know, walnut trees have a, you know, they're very slow growing, but they're a very hard wood and very desirable for furniture and expensive as the dickens. So Luther Burbank set about trying to develop a tree that would mimic the it would grow fast, but yet mimic the characteristics of wood in walnut. And this was the one of the trees he developed, called the paradox walnut tree, because the paradox is it grew quickly and the wood was just as good as a standard walnut. So, and this is just some of the vegetable beds and things that people plant. I'll try to pick out the Burbank specific things. Over here is a very interesting Burbank plant creation. We all know the cactuses. I mean, the last thing you want to do in life is bump into a cactus, all right? Yeah. It's got really bad thorns, but Burbank thought there's so many places that all it has on the land out west is cactuses. If he could develop a variety of cactus that cattle could eat without tearing up their mouths and things, then it would be a commercial success. Hence, he developed a cactus that does not have any spines per se on it, or very, very tiny ones that wouldn't really hurt to chew. And there it is. That's all one huge, giant cactus. The problem was it just never became commercially viable, but it's certainly interesting nonetheless. Burbank was one of the first also to do the multi-grafted trees. This variety here, he would graft, this isn't his particular tree, but following his methods, they could put 4 or 5 different varieties of fruit on one, graft on one cherry rootstock. So he was one of the first to do that. So we'll make our way over here. He also did a lot to develop the kiwi, and up here is a kiwi fruit. And a kiwi is a variety that you need a male and female vine to plant, or you don't get any kiwis. And sometimes if you come here late in the season, you see a lot of little, well, you can see some, there they are up there, babe. You can see some kiwis hanging over there.
Oh yeah.
Right up there.
Yeah.
You see them? So, yeah, there's kiwis here. And here's Burbank in the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And we'll be making our way over to his famous glass greenhouse. And here's some of the things that he did. The very famous Shasta daisy and the phenomenal berry. And I'll be talking more about berries in a minute. Over here, the Burbank potato, the Santa Rosa plum that we enjoyed today. I have it in my my backyard. The plum cot, the first crossing of a plum and an apricot. And there's Burbank with his second wife, who was much, much younger. She was smart, though. You know, guys, until the 1932, when Congress passed the Plant Act, you couldn't patent plant varieties and innovative strains of plants and things. And the second that they passed that Plant Act, Luther Burbank's wife ran out and filed all the patents she could, thus protecting a lot of the wealth of the family, because they weren't rich beforehand at all. Luther Burbank was one of those people that worked for the love of it and never made a lot of money in his life, but his wife was very smart and took care of the business and took care of the finances and helped keep the place going long after he was passed on. So we'll go over now this very interesting variety of raspberry over here. And what's interesting about this variety of raspberry, and here's quince tree here on the way. And if you've never had a quince before, they're very hard, like baseballs. And the reason you probably have never had a quince before is you can't eat them out of hand. They actually have to be cooked to soften up, and then they're actually quite tasty. But that's an actual quince tree. And when Luther Burbank moved to Santa Rosa, and he got here after visiting his sister in San Francisco, he came all the way from Massachusetts, and he took a train ride up to Santa Rosa, and he said, this is where I'm going to buy. This is God's chosen place up here, and this is where he developed all this property. Here is his part of his working property when all those years from the 1880s all the way through to his death, I think in about 1926 or so. This is an interesting variety here. How many times do you ever see a white raspberry? This is the Thornless Blackberry. I don't know how many of you ever picked blackberries, but they just tear your hands up when you get in there to pick them up into the brush. They have the terrible thorns on them, and he developed a variety that had no thorns on it. But one of the things he could never understand, he developed a variety of blackberry that was, instead of having color, it was a clear, what they call the white blackberry, and he thought this would be great for bakers and people that make pies and things, because they never have to worry about staining their hands and getting the stain on their clothes, blackberry stains. But you know what? People eat with their eyes first, and they didn't like the color of a clear, looked like a gooey sort of pie, so it was never successful. So sometimes things that you think would be great things when you develop and don't turn out to be commercially viable. And the non-colored blackberry was just such a thing, and I think Burbank was very disappointed with that. So we'll now make our way over to the reflecting pool, which is really pretty. It's a contemplation pool. Are you learning something? Bobby's getting his dose of Burbank today. He's probably been here 6,000 times over. Oh, first time, okay. So, well, welcome to the tour, babe.
I know.
So we'll go inside. Yep. Guy reading aloud there. This is a reflecting area, so people sit here and read and do all that stuff. And it's really beautiful over here, isn't it? I love this area of the gardens in here. And I really, that waterfall is so pretty the way it comes out of that bowl. And that place is open to the public 365 days a year, and nobody cares if you come here and stretch out and take it easy on a beautiful sunny day. There's the beautiful, beautiful pond and waterfall there. And I really have to give the groups here a lot of kudos for the upkeep here.
Oh my God!
Because an old building, and we'll make our way over to the glass greenhouse. Takes a lot of work for upkeep and maintenance. This glass greenhouse that we're going to see had a whole big capital fundraising campaign just for it, and it took something like $180,000 just to restore Burbank's greenhouse. And you can see this is a really old style greenhouse. It's made of the sheet glass. It's nothing like today's modern ones, but this is the original This is the original greenhouse that Burbank did his work in. This door's, yeah, probably this door's locked, but we can see it from the inside. We can, and there's his safe where he kept his seeds and things. So we'll go inside and we'll see that. Yeah, the door's in, yeah, they want you to loop through inside. Burbank's actually buried over here. They never disclosed the exact location. There was a tree of Lebanon or something in the old days that was there, and he and his wife are planted or buried over in that area over there. Yep, right over there. So, and there's his home. Well, they might let us in from the backside, so they like to just control the access, which I can understand. So we'll chooch over here and see if we can bop inside the home. And no, it looks like, I guess they just open it on holidays and things like that, so you really can't get in there today. But we'll just pop into the carriage house, and I don't guess we can get into the greenhouse, so we'll head in here. Hi. Excuse me?
You can't take any pictures in.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, well, on that little bit of a sour note, can't take pictures in the carriage house. Lord knows why, but that's the Luther Burbank Home and Gardens, and we will push on now to our next point of interest. Those of you who have been on the channel a long time will no doubt recognize this house, which was featured a couple times in some uploads that I did back in February and March, called Santa Rosa in the Movies, Hollywood in Santa Rosa. And I've often talked about Hitchcock's 1948, I believe it was, movie Shadow of a Doubt, starring Joseph Cotten and Teresa Wright. And if you haven't seen it, it's an exceptional Hitchcock movie. You know, I'm not going to give away the plot, but you can see it free. You just Google Shadow of a Doubt and then pick a long version out of there. It's like an hour and 22 minutes or so, and enjoy it. Put it on there. You don't have to pay anything at all, but it's outstanding. And it's a beautiful home, and you'll see this prominently featured Netflix. We're now going to go up to see the home that was featured in the 1966 Disney movie Pollyanna, the Maribel Mansion.
Lives on this street.
Yeah, we're making our way down McDonald now, which is really the nice, quiet, really high-end residential area in the city. And we just saw the Hitchcock Shadow of a Doubt home, and there are some mighty big homes, and we're making our way along here towards the Maribel Mansion. But I was telling Bobby I live in the Roseland area, and Bobby's not in a super quiet area, but you come over here and it's almost like being out in nature. It's so quiet because every day I'm just assaulted with noise pollution and helicopters and fire engines and police cars, but it is so quiet. And right over here is the Maribel Mansion. You can see the Maribel Mansion here on the side, along with the little gazebo, and it's really a stunningly beautiful, ornate Victorian with all the fancy gingerbread boarding. And this, of course, was featured in the 1966 Walt Disney movie Pollyanna. And they put a ton of money into fixing this place, didn't they, babe? With like over $1 million bucks. I think they bought it for like 1.3 million and then poured another million into it. So we'll walk down and we'll get the head-on view. But I'll try to show you some of the detailed in the gingerbreading up there on the roof. Really, really fancy. and just they did a first-class job restoring that, and the grounds are just immaculate.
So I suppose the house goes back quite a ways.
Yeah, we'll go around. It's a huge, big block, and this was the servants' quarters.
But the grounds are really nice.
So how would you like to live here? Have some people looking at your house.
Yeah.
So these people, they dealt with it by planning ahead.
Yeah, that's what I would have done.
You know,
That's a nice looking house across the street.
they probably don't appreciate that when people looking at their house.
We're on the east side of town now at the very old Howarth Park, which is the city of Santa Rosa's largest, probably oldest community park. And on Sundays, Saturday and Sunday, this place is just hopping with people coming out and cooking out. They've got an old little train that runs around the park for the kids, and all kinds of food and stuff that you can buy. But they also have the boat ramps, because although we live in a very dry place in California, they have a beautiful Lake Ralphine, down here next to Spring Lake. And these lakes impound a lot of our drinking water here for the city of Santa Rosa. So we'll cross over and we'll get a look at the lakes here. Try not to get whacked. Right. You can see it's a gorgeous day to be out today. I bet it isn't even 80 degrees. I bet it's like 78 degrees or something. It's just spectacular out. We'll head over here and enjoy the lake a little bit. But we had a heck of a time parking. Everybody's up here today.
Oh yeah.
You can rent paddle boats and go out. Yeah, paddle boats and kayaks, and of course everybody always has to feed the Canada geese. And down here, boy, it's just delightful underneath of these trees. A lot of people you can hear the train whistle going off, the little train that runs around here. And it's a great place for a lot of wonderful place for a lot of families to come and chooch up a barbecue and everything, and have a great time. I'm waiting if one of these families is going to invite me over to sample the wares today. Beautiful day on Lake Ralphine. Guys always look hungry.
Attention Lake Ralphine, paddleboat T. Your time is up. Please return to dock. That's paddleboat T. Thank you.
No free ride. The time is up.
Dock stays at back.
Nice and cool in the shade. Go, babe.
I hope you've enjoyed this day tripping Santa Rosa, Bobby and my town, and it's just a wonderful place to live. We've seen some of the beautiful homes of Santa Rosa. We've seen the downtown area, the railroad square. there's always things to do here. It's a big recreational town, and it's very family oriented too, as you can see on the lakes. And this is just a small lake because the lake next door is Spring Lake here, which is a much larger lake, which has hiking trails around it and things like that. I've been in this area for a lot of years now, and I still feel like it's the best place I've ever lived. And I have the distinction of having lived in a lot of different places all over the world, and this is the nicest place that I've ever lived in. So thanks for being with me and Bobby today, and we'll see you on the next day tripping.